So can you provide some tips on how to tailor your resume and cover letter, and how we can highlight our strength and skills? Because we have talked about like the communication skills and all that. So I just wanted to know about like the resume part as well.
I think you have to think about your resume as like the trailer to your movie. And you have to understand that the goal of your resume is not to get a job. Like, I think we forget that. We skip too many steps. The goal of your resume at a best case scenario is to get an interview. No one's going to look at your resume like you're hired. No. Why? Because we just talked about this. Like, I look at your resume with skepticism. I know you probably lied or exaggerated on it. So why do I have to interview you after looking at your resume? Because I want to make sure that the resume is real. Right. If you think about your interviews, generally is asking you about your resume and double checking that the work that you said you could do, you can actually do. Yeah. So to me, I will actually say you need to have a good resume. I get that, but I would rather you focus on relationship building. I would rather you focus on network. You know, I see a lot of people trying to beat the applicant tracking system and try to figure out the right words to add the keywords and all of that. In fact, forget trying to beat the applicant tracking system, skip the applicant tracking system. How do you skip it? By networking. If you can go directly to someone on the team, someone that's going to reports to the same boss, someone who's going to be your coworker, and they send your resume to the manager and said, hey, boss, you got to talk to this person. Like, I just talked to them on LinkedIn. Their portfolio is awesome. They're driven. I could tell they're hardworking. And then the boss goes, you know what? The least I could do is interview him. Let's see what the hype is all about, right? And if you get to the interview, then you just did the same thing and actually better, and you just beat 95% of other people who apply for the job, and no ATS was involved. It was humans. And until you find out that the company is no longer hiring based on humans, then you should continue on networking, right? Like I understand all this technology, it's out there, all this AI. But last time I heard, Google still hires by a human. Amazon still uses humans to hire. Like, the final decision is still a human.
Yeah, right. And like, because like you're also right that in that sense, like if a person focus more on networking side, because like there are nowadays, like I also see on LinkedIn, like easy apply button on almost like all of the jobs, like 70 to 80% jobs now have like easy apply. And it is like 3-second effort, I would say, or like 4 second, just click submit. Like if there are like 2-3 steps, and you can like submit your resume. So there are like thousands of resume, and HR might like go through some of them, and then some company have like some filtering CRM that filter the resume based on keywords and stuff. So it's better, like rather than focusing on that, just like or other than that, there's also a feature like I've seen on LinkedIn that you can message a recruiter as well. Like I would say like these things are more better, as you have suggested, like connecting with people rather than focusing on like just applying more on jobs.
Yeah, I think it's like, if everyone does it, I think you should be wary of doing it, because if it's easy, everyone's going to do it. And then, so because it's easy to apply, the companies now have to create filters or use technology or use AI to be able to filter through those applications and figure out who to interview or not. Like a company like Google gets 10,000 applicants. Are they going to interview all 10,000? No, they can't.
Yeah.
They can't.
Yeah, you're right. And what is your thought on like how a person should optimize their like LinkedIn or like their personal website or like their social media, because they want to network with other person, right? But their LinkedIn should be attractive, should be designed in a way that the other person feels like, yeah, I can connect with him and I can talk to him. We have like, so what's your take on that? Like, what are the things that we should focus on in LinkedIn?
Yeah, I think having clarity of what industry or career they want and communicating that, like, you don't need to be an expert. You're coming right out of college, or you're not expected to be a thought leader or an expert, but you communicating how you're learning something new, and then you have clarity of what you want, really helps you stand out. And I would even say, like, what you do is great. Like, you have all the technology that you're really familiar with on your header. You have all your technology on your banner, right? And so, like, for example, I think you are a good example of how you can be communicating your value on it. Like, you have 7 years of experience, but there's people with 20-30 years of experience, but I bet you can get a job over them because of your ability to showcase your value on your LinkedIn profile.
Yeah, you're right. Like, yeah, because like I remember, like I have like different friends, and my mentor used to always tell me, like back in the days, I don't like really value LinkedIn, but he used to tell me like, like you have to change your headline, you have to do this, you have to do this, and over the time period, I get to know that like with like I am adding things in almost every section. Like if you go to publications, I have added it is like filled. If you go to recommendations, like I have get recommendations from my colleagues, and I am also writing articles and like making different posts as well. And then that thing, like like it basically you start to noticing the difference, like because I remember like 3-4 years ago, I started when I was active on LinkedIn. I started like getting a lot of messages from HR, like we have this job opportunity, we have this opportunity. And when I moved to Malaysia, I remember like I changed my location to Kuala Lumpur, and like from the next day, because I was also not thinking about, from the next day I got a message from one of the biggest company, IT company, Maybank, is like a banking system here in Kuala Lumpur. They messaged me, and I was getting like messages from HR, like one or two message every day, some days like 3-4. So I was like, oh shit, man, like this thing is like actually works. Like if you have like right data, like right things, and it's not like your point is also right, like you do not have to like exaggerate. Like whatever you have done, you have to make sure like what you know, you just put it there. I